So ISIS is going to see their ranks swelling with willing new jihadists coming just looking to clack themselves off. Man, I can't talk. Yeah, I believe in a little bit of freedom. Give me some of that. When Fantasyland comes up against a real hard reality in Afghanistan. And the result is disaster. This is your 30 August update for Afghanistan and Iraq. Today we are going to be spending the vast majority of our time on Afghanistan. Now, here's what we got. British and Australian forces are reported to be out of Afghanistan now. I tried to find out some information on the American force posture, and I have not been able to find anything on it. So I don't know what's going on. I'm going to assume no change on the American force posture right now. And I've still got no word as of when I was gathering information this afternoon. I've got no word on what the conversation is surrounding the self-imposed deadline, et cetera, et cetera. But obviously we're going to find out here very soon, seeing as how tomorrow is the deadline. Excuse me. All right, now here's what's going on. In the world, ISIS and the Taliban this has been a boon for them, not only just because they got a bunch of weapons, not only because they gained a bunch of prestige, but this event has been so huge and so global that it is like a gigantic recruiting commercial for ISIS. So ISIS is going to see their ranks swelling with willing new jihadists coming just looking to clack themselves off to kill Americans and go see Allah. Now they're going to utilize Afghanistan to refit and to conduct follow-on operations in the region. And you better frickin' believe me, they're going to be looking to conduct operations inside the United States. And I'm not trying to be over the top or anything. I'm just telling you, we've got a wide open southern border. And I would be highly surprised if there were not already operatives inside of our borders. Hell, our own politicians are acting like operatives. All that aside, let's go to the foreign press. Foreign press is freaking having a cow. Check some of this stuff out. I got a little cough, guys. Bear with me today. All right, Australia. Some commentators are calling for Biden to be held legally accountable. They brought up court-martial because he's the commander-in-chief. Of course, that is not really the mechanism. The mechanism is impeachment. Personally, I think he should resign. But that's just me. Now, here's their problem with Biden, aside from everything that's already happened, is that he's allowing Afghanistan to be used as a safe haven for jihadists and terrorists to further develop their operations and their capabilities. This is from the Australian press. He has endangered the entire West. The West is being chased out of Afghanistan under fire. They view America as being in decline. It is greatly destabilizing for the entire world. China, Russia, Iran are taking advantage of this weakness, and they are making moves, according to the Australian press. Now, I don't doubt this at all. I just haven't seen what the what the move is. Man, I'll tell you what, I just can't catch a break with this cough. I think it's all the dust over here. Everything has got dust. Now, further, Biden's actions undermines NATO and the sphere of influence of the entire West. I buy that. America is a, quote, fair weather ally. Again, Afghanistan disaster will drive countries to develop relationships with China and Russia. Now, this is key. It's one of the first things I brought up as a geopolitical implication of this whole thing. Way back whenever this thing started on the 15th or 16th of August, when I was calling this a seismic geopolitical event. Just having studied history in college, and of course since, reading a lot and whatnot, it's just kind of obvious. Bottom line, China and Russia in particular are going to exploit this opportunity because they're expecting no real response from what they view as a feckless administration. Man, I can't talk. Our allies have asked, quote, "What was going on in his head, Biden?" Wondering what was going on in his head. Well, so here's a few things, and I'll comment a little bit. I'll throw out a few things that they said. He had his eye on the midterms. So he was thinking that, my opinion, he was thinking that he's going to get some great optics for the midterms so that the fundamentalist wokesters can get some more people ushered in to the House and the Senate. Not working out so good right now. Not working out so good. He's had a long time position against the long war, which, you know, I don't necessarily disagree with that position, depending on the details. But I don't necessarily disagree with that position that Biden holds. Based on the reporting of how the decisions have been made, and this is John Curry. Based on the reporting of how decisions have been made in this administration, I would add that the cause of this disaster was personal hubris, childish and foolish stubbornness, and a typical woke, ethnocentristic fundamentalist worldview in which realities are relative and no other viewpoints are welcome, despite the actual realities. And we've seen when fantasy land comes up against a real hard reality in Afghanistan. And the result is disaster. Now, this is interesting, and this is from the Australian press again. They're talking about this narrative that I hadn't really thought about this, but narrative that ISIS-K and the Taliban are bitter enemies. The Taliban in this case is painted as more moderate than in the past. They're nice. They're not bad guys. You know, they're okay. They behead some people. They stone some women. They beat the ever-living shit out of some people. You know, and they execute people by shooting them in the head with AKs and stuff. But they're kinder and they're gentler. But the narrative is nevertheless there that there's this huge divide between ISIS and the Taliban. And I'm not saying there might not be some friction. They offed some leaders when they let them out of the prison there in Bagram. They offed some of the leaders, but that may have been just to off the leaders so that they wouldn't pose a threat to the Taliban leadership, and then let the fighters come on into the fold. You know, I don't know. That's my opinion, but this is shared by many other commenters who are some knowledgeable folks that would know, veterans of various skill sets. So now, the Australian press is saying that this narrative about ISIS and Taliban being such bitter enemies is completely untrue, that they're not bitter enemies. Now, I would agree with that based on observation. There's others that also agree. It's designed, though, to take the heat off of the Biden administration surrounding this whole debacle. And I'm sure they're reaching for straws to do anything they can. Now, I have got quite a bit of... I'm going to split this up into two videos because I kind of rolled down a rabbit hole today. And I just got off of doing another podcast. Go check out The Decision Hour with Heroes Media Group that I just got off of with Adam Bird, and we discussed some of this stuff. But is it possible... It's more... I would say, let me make a statement that it is probable, that I think it is probable that we are simply being conditioned to accept loss of freedom, conditioned to accept more government control, conditioned to not question things. I mean, it's openly being discussed, and I got this from an article that I happened to read today. Let's see, it's called "Will You Love Your Servitude" by Dr. Maricola, and it was in a publication called The Waking Times. It was actually a really good article, but it talked about, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, it said it's openly being discussed. Top political figures and the big tech leaders are openly saying the COVID-19 pandemic has provided an opportunity to reset and build back better. I mean, we've heard these terms. Reset, the Great Reset, all that sort of stuff, build back better. So if you don't think it's possible, and this is what we talked on the decision hour tonight, we talked about this. If you don't think it's possible, consider how much conditioning has already occurred with America. And I've asked the question before, do Americans still believe in freedom? Yeah, I believe in a little bit of freedom. Give me some of that. Do you? Do you now? Let's look at some of this. Look at how we have allowed the wokesters to invade our education system, to invade our government, to invade our corporations, to chill our freedom of speech, to chill our freedom of religion by not allowing us during the draconian COVID shutdowns, to not allow folks to go to church or to temple or whatever the heck you're doing. Not allowing people to keep their businesses open, the mom and pops. Of course, the big box stores, they were able to stay open. Mom and pop, not. Face diapers for everybody, all my friends. Face diapers, Hey, buddy, diaper up, Some sort of freaking virtue that I'm going to put a nasty rag on my face. Who in the hell in their right mind does this shit? Really. It's just getting disgusting. But nevertheless, look, we're being conditioned already. And we let all those freedoms go that I just mentioned, and I'm sure a host of others, with not only without a fight, guys, but without a whimper. Not even a whimper. Now, people are starting to fight back this time as COVID Part 2 starts coming around, with another round of face diapering and another round of shutting down mom and pop's freaking restaurant and another round of mandatory this and mandatory that. Can't go to church. Can only go to the big box store. Mom and pop's store, it can't open up even though it does the same damn thing as the big box store. We've allowed this to happen. So we're already being conditioned. We're being buttered up for it. I'm going to ask another question here. How do you keep from becoming a concentration camp guard? So let's say it's 1939 and you're in Nazi Germany by that time. How do you, if you're a normal person, and most of those Germans were normal people, and yet one incremental step at a time, one incremental compromise at a time, one little lie after the other, one small step at a time, we end up with perfectly normal people shoving women and children into gas chambers to be murdered. How does that happen? I just described how it happens. One step at a time. One compromise at a time. One lie at a time. That's how it happens. Is that what is happening to us? We are allowing it. We brought this on. Each of us has to take responsibility for our country. Each of us has a piece of this burden that we have to bear. Now, one more piece, and I'm going to make this one short tonight, folks. One more piece. Do you trust this administration? Do you trust your government? Hell, I hope not. I certainly don't. We continue to balkanize ourselves. For those of you who are in the Balkans, you know. For those of you who are not in the Balkans, let me just tell you that it is about as ugly as mankind can get. And we don't want it here. It's a bad deal for everybody. And yet we continue to allow the fundamentalist wokesters, don't allow these people to call themselves liberal. They are not liberals. They are authoritarian. They are fundamentalist in their idea and in their ideology. Don't accept and don't allow them. These people who have this ideology and are forcing it upon the rest of the country, do not allow them to continue to divide us in their nihilistic, postmodernist wokeism, to divide us by race, to divide us by economic status. We need to refuse to accept this. And we need to wake up. In this debacle in Afghanistan, I think, folks, may be just a little bit of an opportunity where the curtain got peeled back just a little bit. And we got to see that the big bad wizard isn't exactly a big bad wizard. He's a crumpled up old man with about a quarter of his brain working, who's feeble, who's foolish, who's childish, and his lackeys. That's who is doing this to us. But we allowed it. We allowed it. We have to take that responsibility for our own country. So, folks, I'm going to leave you with the normal admonition and encouragement that I give to you. America is in need of heroes. America is in need of warriors. And that means you. It's not just me and the other veterans and the other active duty people in uniform. That very small percentage of people who served in uniform over this past 20 years or so, that's not gonna do it. That's not gonna get it. All Americans, each of you, has got to become a warrior in your own way. Now, I'm starting another series on my John Curry YouTube channel to train, equip, and inspire folks to become heroes. And it's just going to be a series, a playlist, and it's going to be called Heroes Boot Camp. Simple as that, Heroes Boot Camp. And all we're going to do, me and the guests, is we are going to talk about issues that I think are germane, that I think you need to understand to educate. We're going to offer some solutions, some tactics, some things you can do in your own world to take back a little piece of America. So that's where we're starting for now. I'm posting my first video there tonight. Well, we'll see how it goes. Leave comments. Let me know what you think. And we will adjust as required to what the audience is looking for. But America needs heroes and warriors. America is a one-off in the history of the world. We can't lose her because we failed to take action in our time. with that, I'm going to leave you. Wherever you are, have a great afternoon, have a great morning, have a great evening. I will see all of you later. Bye. We're John and Stacy Curry from Semper Savage, a veteran-owned, family-operated company making the finest marinades and dressings on the planet. But we're more than just another company. Family's our core. It's our greatest joy and our greatest strength. We inspire people through personal connections and savage patriotism. We believe in the greatness of America. We travel all over the U.S. and have experienced the fundamental goodness of our people and the strength of our communities. We're achieving excellence while tirelessly pursuing perfection. We offer 4 delicious all-natural products: Savage Caesar, Savage Balsamic, Savage Centurion, and Savage Cider. They're Italian-style vinaigrettes that are more than just marinades or dressings. They're equally at home sautéing in the pan, baking in the oven, on the grill, or as a drizzle or dipping sauce. Take your food to the next level with Semper Savage. It's homemade flavor in a bottle, and you are gonna love it. Pour it on.